Devil May Cry.
It's sad to say, but there are some games out there that are just plain disappointing. They can't possibly hope to match the hype that's been surrounding them. You put so much expectation into their quality. You want this game to take up all your time, to please you consistently from beginning to end, but it just can't do it. You've put too much stock into it. The industry's put too much stock into it, so it can only leave you feeling deflated. Devil May Cry 5 is not one of those games at all. It's ruddy bloody brilliant. In fact, I will go on record quite happily as saying it's the best Devil May Cry game. And I like all of them. Even DMC, which I like quite a lot actually, but, you know, that was a very contentious one that was very divisive, being from a new studio, being a very different game stylistically. And this game, DMC 5, is the archetypal return to form. This is the Devil May Cry 5 that series traditionalists want. It's the Devil May Cry 5 that anybody else should greatly enjoy playing. It is an intricate, detailed, most importantly, spectacular action game. This is classic Devil May Cry. This is a game that makes you feel awesome all of the time for many reasons. It looks gorgeous. The action, the combat is tight, slickly produced, luxuriously animated, but not in a way that gets in the way of interactivity. The animations all serve a purpose. It's a flowing, fluid, varied game that I could highly recommend not only to Devil May Cry fans, but to anyone. Anyone who wants a game that gets the adrenaline going, that makes you excited to play a video game. Imagine such a thing. Devil May Cry 5 makes me excited to play video games. I can't keep playing Devil May Cry 5 because my finger won't forgive me. It's still sore after me capturing footage last night. Incredibly sore, but that's the way of the world. That's Devil May Cry 5 for you. There are 3 playable characters, 2 of which you should be familiar with if you play Devil May Cry 4. We've got Nero here, who fights with one arm and different robot arms that he pops onto where the missing arm is. And these devil breakers each have their own unique attacks, special abilities. Some of them can basically create a big metal drill that you go with and drill through enemy defenses. You can fire off the fist to have it fly around enemies and punch them up. That's always a great bit of fun. There's a Devil Breaker that slows down time. Just a huge varied amount, and you can, between missions and at various points within each mission, you can customize which Devil Breakers you have equipped. You can also find them in the environment. They are fragile, and that's the interesting bit of balance that comes with Nero's Devil Breaker system. The metal arms, not the video game, the metal arms are prone to breaking. If you take damage while you're initiating a Devil Breaker attack, it will snap up and that will basically be expended and you'll need another Devil Trigger. If you power the Devil Trigger up like we've done here, I'm calling it the Devil Trigger now, the Devil Breaker, sorry, you might be able to tell I'm bubbling with excitement talking about this one. I've played this one for about a week and I've been itching to praise it. So yeah, if you power up the Devil Breaker for an attack, that'll also break it. You can also forcibly sever the metal arm yourself, which creates an explosion and can get you out of taking damage at the expense of the equipped Devil Breaker. It's effing fun. Look at this. This is the whip arm. Smash that around. So that's Nero. That's how Nero plays. Look at that. So yeah, that's only a fraction of the capabilities of Nero. In all of this footage, I can only show you a bit of what each character's capable of, because an exhaustive video would take much longer than I think I'm even allowed to show footage for the Devil May Cry. This is V, the new character. Now, V is a very interesting character, and one I wasn't keen on at first, but as I've played more and more and as I've unlocked skills for V, I've come to love it. V is an indirect fighter. He uses Griffin and Shadow, 2 animalistic demons, basically a bird and a big cat, to do the attacks for him. The attack you'd normally use for swinging your sword controls what the big cat does, and the button you'd normally use for guns determines the attacks Griffin does. And you can also use the devil trigger, I'm using that word correctly now, use the devil trigger to summon Nightmare, which is a big powerful demon that attacks on its own and basically just chews shit to pieces. And he is... yeah, he takes some getting used to. He's a little bit quirky, and sometimes you can feel like the responsiveness of the character isn't there because it's so indirect. There are certain times where I felt I was telling one of the two main demons, to do things very specifically, and they weren't doing it. And it might not necessarily be that the controls themselves are unresponsive. There may just be that slight disconnect that leaves you feeling like you've done something when the input didn't register. But once you get used to it, as I've said, it's a very unique way to play Devil May Cry. Controlling these movements separately, learning how to use the demons to avoid enemy attacks as well. Obviously, you have to stop them attacking, but you can use Griffin to drag you out of the way of an attack, or you can slide across the floor using Shadow and then send them back into the fight. You've also got to watch their health meters. Each of the demons has their own health bar, so if they take enough damage, they basically are out of the action for a little while. And V can read poetry to raise the devil trigger to power up his two demons, or earn enough of the devil trigger meter to summon Nightmare. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I am so giddy. I am so giddy talking about this game. Truly, honestly, truly. So that's V. And Dante is Dante. You know Dante by now. Fights with his big sword, collects different weapons, punchy fists, fights with a severed motorbike, because of course he does. It's so good, and I'm amazed at how they've made 3 characters feel distinct, have very unique styles of play, and yet all of them still feel like true Devil May Cry protagonists. Everything you want from the series is here. Everything. Weird enemy designs, so many attacks, you barely remember them all. There are some levels I've played through where I've completely forgotten to use certain attacks, and yet still done really well because there's just variety. Nothing's required, but it's all there at your disposal, and it's just incredibly enthralling, thrilling, adrenaline pumping to fire all of these attacks off. So that's, we're looking at, in my opinion, I'll reiterate it, the best, certainly my favourite Devil May Cry game ever. The favourite one I've ever played, and I've played them all, so... yeah. Where are we for negative stuff? Aside from V feeling a little bit disconnected to play with, there is, of course, the monetization to talk about. There are microtransactions in this game. They feel completely unnecessary, and that's not a good thing, as far as I'm concerned. They feel so tacked on, obligatory. It's just like getting more red orbs. The game gives you plenty, but it tries to make... basically tries to make the currency more valuable by having you buy new Devil Breakers for Nero all the time. And of course, with 3 characters, there are a ton of skills to unlock for each one. If you're planning on replaying any levels to raise your ranks or just to grind, you can do that. But for the most part, it's not an issue. It just feels more like the monetization is there for the sheer sake of it, really. Because it's obligatory, because all games need to have these live elements. And it's a shame. I always feel like any fee-to-pay element in a game is, especially if it's a full-price premium game, they have no place there. It dirties the whole thing up, and it, precludes them, in my opinion, and as per my policy, from being potential Game of the Year candidates. Were it not there, Devil May Cry 5 would most certainly... be a shoo-in, as far as I'm concerned. And if you can overlook the microtransactions, this won't be a problem for you. Of course, there are many people that just ignore them completely, and they're not they're not in the target demo for monetization, and they'll have a great time with it. And I had a fantastic time with Devil May Cry 5. That really is, it's the presence of the monetization is the only real glaring negative I have of this. And maybe 1 or 2 levels toward the end of the game more annoying than challenging, but that's to do with enemy combinations. There are certain combinations of enemies where they work really well together at being a king-sized pain in your goddamn ass. But otherwise, this is the most consistent fun I've had with a video game. I don't know since when. Fist of the North Star, I guess? The Yakuza the Yakuza Team's Fist of the North Star game. That might have been the last time, from beginning to end, I was like, this fun has not let up. And it keeps finding new ways to delight me. And there's not a lot more else I can say. Devil May Cry 5 is brilliant. Shame about the fee to pay, but yeah. Look, you fight with a severed motorbike. You're fighting giant ants full of blood crystals. I will also say there are elements to this game that remind me of Suda 51. That's what I wanted to say before I left. This one, the games have always had this camp, over-the-top, ridiculous, absurd humour to them. But this one especially, that's helped by one of the supporting characters, Nico, who you can call up using telephone booths found within levels, and she crashes in with her van, and you use her to upgrade things, buy new devil breakers, unlock abilities, stuff like that. And just her over-the-top entrances appearing at regular intervals, it reminds me of something you'd find in a Grasshopper Manufacture title. To say nothing of Dante stealing the show whenever he turns up. He does a Michael Jackson dance routine in this one, folks. He does a Michael Jackson dance routine. Devil May Cry 5 is fan-fucking-tastic. And that's all I got to say about that.